Asazi ruins. Some of the Navajo people still call the area home. A living community in the canyon who...
I'm not too interested in hearing about the history of the place, so I turn back to Marina. She's looking up at the pictures too, though her eyes appear glazed over. When she catches me staring, she blinks and then smiles. I smile back, though I almost look like an idiot just watching her instead of the lecture. After a minute, the guide's speech concludes and we start to walk down the trail. Much to my display, before I can say anything to Marina, that woman in front of us turns around.
Isn't that just crazy?
Huh? It takes a second for me to understand that she's talking to me. She fits just about every stereotype of a redneck from the huge hat on her head to the baby strapped to her chest. Is that a redneck stereotype?
I think that's more of a hipster stereotype now.
Amber
This
continues to amuse.
Is this an alternate universe where rednecks are hipsters?
Maybe. That'd be kind of interesting seeing the implications of such a universe, but... She'd probably be attractive if not for the layers of sunscreen coating her face. Even though it's nearly nighttime, they make her look like a ghost.
I said, isn't that just crazy? He was saying about those Indians and how they used to communicate with each other.
Oh, yeah. Even if I had wanted to talk to her, I still have no idea what the guide said.
They were just so darn clever. It makes you wonder how they all ended up dying out, huh?
I don't just say know how to respond to that.
Can't just say that, woman.
I'm pretty sure a lot of them are still alive, and like, some of them live here in this canyon. Didn't they just say that? I had heard that much at least, but apparently not everyone did. For a second, the woman looks at me like I'm crazy, but then she busts up laughing.
Sorry, you're absolutely right. I was thinking of them Aztecs down in Mexico.
Okay.
I feel worse for voicing her. I feel like a worse person now.
Her laugh is more like a bray. She sounds like a farm animal in my head. I keep hoping she'll turn back around and leave us alone. But we're not so lucky. She keeps on chatting us up as we follow the trail. I'm self-conscious about how noisy she's being compared to the low noise level of the others.
Hey, is that where the name Texas comes from? From Aztec?
What? I don't believe so, but then again, I have no reason to not believe so. I don't know my Texas history. When I was a kid, a friend of mine developed... This is not really related, but it made me think of it. But when I was a kid, my friend once sang a parody song of Walk Like an Egyptian that was called Learning Like a Texan, and it was about the Texas education system. I don't remember any of the lyrics, though.
I mean, like, the Texas education system is very messed up, so...
Before I can answer, she started shouting at someone else.
Thank God. Howard! Hey, Howard, come over here!
By now, nearly everyone is looking at us.
Ma'am, can you please keep your voice down? Oops. Sorry.
She apologizes loudly. So much for staying inconspicuous. Howard makes his way over. He looks rather defeated, face drooping and shoulders sagging. I figured he's the woman's husband. He looks like he could be like the mentor character in like a story. He looks too old for how old he probably is.
Yeah.
Yes, dear.
I was just talking to this girl here about history, and I was wondering, does the name Texas have anything to do with the Aztecs? The words sound kind of similar.
I don't think so. He looks like he could be in like one of those like yes ma'am memes. I don't want to say the other part because I don't know if that will get detected. I mean, it's not like I'm monetizing these, but yes. I was implying that he would be in one of those memes. I don't think so.
could see that.
Yeah.
Huh. Go figure.
She cackles again. Beside her, Howard sighs. For his sake, I hope his family is loaded or something. Every time she laughs, the baby on her chest bounces, but the lucky kid sleeps right through it all. Maybe he's used to this.
Anyway, I must have left my manners back in Wisconsin. My name's Linda, and this is my husband, Howard. This little champ right here.
She thrusts herself and does the baby towards me.
Dino! Isn't that just the cutest name?
I just grunt in response. I'm trying to see her around her, up to where the guide is alternating between shooting Linda death glares and trying to narrate the walk. If you said anything useful about the canyon, it's the past couple of minutes. I've missed it entirely. Glancing over at Marina, who has pulled away a couple of feet, looks like she's enjoying my torture and struggling silence. Tears have formed at the corners of her eyes, glittering in the dying light.
Glad that even in the most stressful situation, she's gay as fuck.
Yeah. They're the good times of tears, the kind from laughing too much. Her hand is smushed over her mouth and she's shaking with the effort of staying silent. There's no way I can let her get away with that, especially since I need to get closer to the front for now. I grab her arm and tug her over into Linda's line of sight. I'm Jane. The enthusiasm in my voice is so forced. And this is my friend, Lacey. I use fake names just to be safe. Marina limply shakes Linda's hand, which has grabbed hers. The mirth has vanished from Marina's face. Good.
Nice to meet you.
Linda pumps her arm like a guillotine, grinning broadly and yet still managing to walk.
So good to see young people taking an interest in nature and history and all that. I'm from around here. We're originally from Tennessee, but moved to Wisconsin and...
Having been properly introduced, I leave Marina to suffer through the family history. I shift away and walk ahead, passing by most of the tour group, just so I can better hear the guide. For a while, he talks about the wildlife and history of the park. After a couple of minutes, though, the lessons become more relevant.
We'll be coming up on the Miami Cave ruins here in just a little bit. That's one of the better-known sites in the canyon. 700 years ago, it was a bustling Pueblo village. Can't get too close to the ruins, so unfortunately it might be a little too late to really see them clearly tonight. The Mummy Cave itself hasn't ever been open to the public.
That's all I needed to know, so I started to slip back towards Marina. Looks like she's still being held hostage by tales of Wisconsin family adventures. Linda notices me approaching. Oh, Jane, there you are. I was just telling... Oh, sorry, that's you.
Yeah. Just telling Lacey about one of the cows I helped birth when I was younger.
Okay. I'm not sure how the conversation went from introductions to cow birth in such a short span of time, but I'm not curious enough to ask. I would. When I rejoin Marina, she mouths two words.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get out of this one. Annoyance aside, it would be impossible to slip away with Linda's attention on us. But it seems we're in luck. As we go around another bend in the road, something more interesting than Marina and me comes into view.
Oh, Howard, look! This is it! Those mummy ruins I was telling you about.
Linda elbows forward, moving ahead of us.
Girls, make sure you get a good spot. You're gonna want to see this, even if it's dark out.
She forges ahead, her husband trailing dutifully. As he passes, I think I hear him saying, "Sorry, though I'm not certain." Once they're out of earshot, Marina makes a sound like the train letting out steam.
Oh my god. Thought I was gonna explode. My ears or my head or my brain or something.
Saw you laughing and figured it wasn't fair. If I was the only one who suffered.
I take it all back if I could. Seriously though, first she was talking about herself, then about her kids, then about her childhood, and then she's talking about growing up on a farm? How she ended up Going on about cows having babies and how nesty it all is? I don't even know.
What, you're not interested in that stuff?
Oh no! Gross, gross, gross.
She wrinkles up her face as she says it. I giggle, but then I turn serious real fast. Okay, but listen. Because it's dark, the group probably isn't going to stop looking at the Mummy Cave ruins for very long, so I'll have to wait until we can sneak away again, and then go over there ourselves.
Far away are they?
No idea. I can't see from here. Just follow my lead again.
Okay.
We've been at the very back of the group the entire time. The people right in front of us are much less interested in us than Linda was, so I don't think anyone will notice if we go missing. When we reach a railing, the guide stops to point out the ruins. They're across a small valley, a couple 100 yards away in the darkness. It's almost impossible to see them. They're just a dark smidge against an even darker backdrop of a mountain. Marina and I are a few yards away from the group, too. I pretend to inspect something on a rock, though there's nothing there. And the short speech ends, and the guide starts to lead everyone on again. I dart behind a rock and crouch down. Marina quickly follows. I can see her start to say something, but I cut my hand over her mouth before she can get a word out. Silently, I shake my head. Marina nods twice, so I uncover her face. In my head, I count to 60. Once a minute has passed, I peel myself away from the rock and stand back up. We should be safe now. Marina's face lights up and she claps her hands. I notice that she's taken out the journal page of a hiding spot again.
They're so cool. It's like something out of a video game where you just sneak away right in front of everyone.
I guess so, but we still can't be noisy. They're not going to be that far away. No flashlights either. This close up, I can see her face fall at that. Don't worry, I'll be right here beside you.
Are you just gonna hop the fence and walk over there?
Unless you have any better ideas.
They captured us.
Then they'll throw us out.
We're not gonna get arrested for trespassing or anything, are we?
Nah, that'd be too much trouble for them. I say that, although I don't actually know.
Okay.
The uncertainty in her voice is obvious. I grab the paper from her hands and stuff it into my pocket. Let's go. The longer we wait, the more likely it is they'll notice us missing. I stroll over to the metal rail, hoping that I sound more confident than I am. Honestly, this is pretty risky and more than a little stupid. But it's also exciting. I duck down and underneath the rail. After a moment, Marina does the same. We're officially out of bounds. Across the small field, I can still just barely make out the shape of the ruins. They sit closely to the mouth of a large cave that runs up the mountains like a scar. Okay, come on. There's an incline, but it's not too bad. Next to me, Marina spreads her arms out for balance, but I'm confident enough to not need to. Crossing over the ruins themselves will be the riskiest part. There's no cover, and anyone who happens to look over will see us. We just have to hope that the tour group has moved to somewhere without a line of sight on us. Okay, hurry. I grab Marina's hand and start to run. She struggles to keep up, so I slow down a little bit, and it takes maybe 2 minutes from one end to the other. When we reach the far wall, Marina's breathing is strained. Don't you do much running, do you?
Oh.
Every word is punctuated with a pant. I'm winded too, but fight my lungs to not show it. I have to look strong for Marina. Ready for the fun part?
Is it actually fun?
Not yet, we've still got to get up there. Point to the lip of the cave, a good 50 feet or so above us still. Marina's face goes pale as she stares at the sheer rock wall in front of us.
Not gonna have to climb that, are we?
How else? I wait a second for the shock to hit her face before I laugh and shake my head. Just kidding, come on over here. A short distance away is a slope, somewhat steep but not too long. It leads up into a part of the cave close to the ruins. We'll actually have to go up this one. Her face still looks doubtful.
I don't know if I can get up that.
Sure you can, it's easy. Look. I hike up a couple steps. Dirt and a bit of gravel tumble down past my feet, but it's mostly stable. It's almost all dirt. If it was loose rock, we'd be in trouble. Still looking uncertain, Marina takes a careful step up behind me. Then another. She slides back down a little bit with each step. Try to spread your weight out a little more evenly. You don't want to lose your balance and fall over. By doing what I say, she's able to reach where I'm standing. Good job. Now just do that like 50 more times. Marina groans, but I've already started. I glance back behind me. She's trailing only a couple steps back. For all her worrying, she's doing okay. I'm just about to compliment her when I feel the earth shift behind me and my foot slides loose. With a yelp, I lose my balance, arms flailing as I try not to fall. Then faster than I can process, Marina's arm shoots out and grabs my sleeve. She tugs me back upright.
You okay? My God, is your ankle all right? Broken anyway? Is it?
Panic is clearly painted across her face. No, I'm fine. The only thing injured is my pride.
You sure?
Yeah, thanks. Good save. We climb up the rest of the way together, but slowly. At the top, both of us stretch and catch our breath. That wasn't so bad, was it?
That's the part where you almost died, maybe?
I didn't almost die. Besides, that's what I have my sidekick for. She gives me a playful shove.
Yeah, I told you I'm not the sidekick here.
Uh-huh. You still have to earn the title of captain or commander, or whatever it is. And you can do that by finding this thing before I do. Now that we're actually up in the ruins themselves, it's more clear just how tough this is going to be. The cave stretches a long way, like a deep scar in the mountain. Delicate clay buildings, some barely as tall as we are arranged throughout. They say this was a village, but it's hard to imagine anyone living here. Everything is so cramped and small.
Where do you think we should start?
Hard to say. It won't be anywhere obvious. Remember, people have been studying this place for decades.
Someone already found it, like, a long time ago.
I shrug. That's probably impossible to see. The sun has gone down entirely down, leaving us shadowed in darkness. I wonder if my marine doesn't seem bothered by it this time. If they did, then I haven't heard anything about it. We've just got to start looking. Try to be careful, though.
I feel bad at being here. Maybe this was a bad idea.
Be super careful, then. And watch for spiders. I flick on the spare flashlight and head past it to her, just in time to see the look of disgust at the mention of spiders. We split up, staying close to each other but not overlapping where we look. I get down on my hands and knees, shining light into every corner and cranny that I can. I worry that our lights might be visible from a distance, even though they aren't very powerful. The only alternative would be sneaking in broad daylight, and we'd be much more likely to be caught then. I'm not finding anything except dirt. I brush my fingers along the clay bricks in hopes of finding a loose stone or secret compartment. There's nothing like that. Nearby, Marina's doing the same thing. She's hitched up her dress so that it doesn't drag on the ground, and I force myself to look away rather than stare. She offers quite a view, though. After a moment, Marina giggles, I'm not sure why. I haven't spoken at all, because I don't want our voices to echo in the cave and give us away. But silently searching gets tedious fast, so I decide to try whispering. What's so funny?
I don't know. Everything, I guess. Just thinking how weird this is. It's just so random, you know?
Alright, Aristotle.
That
Never mind. But yeah, it is kind of crazy. Deciding that the building I was scoring was a lost cause, I moved on to the next one.
You know, it's probably not a big deal since you do this stuff all the time, but this is honestly the most fun I've ever had, I think.
Destroying ancient Native American landmarks?
Be careful. We're careful, but just in general. Yeah, you're on the road. That maybe I was making a mistake when I left, but not anymore.
I'm glad. I am. I really am. Guess it worked out well for both of us. I can't see her from here, but I know she's smiling. Then she giggles again.
Hi, Amber. You're a big old softy after all, are you?
I'm not. I take it back. I should have left you on the side of the road. This time we both laugh. After that, we lapse back into near silence. Just the sound of us crawling around or occasionally moving to another building to search.